I didn't see a thing say recording started.
I know it's just spinning.
Hey,
There we go. Okay. But you know what? It says it's been recording for 15 seconds. So whatever it is what it is. Yeah. We had a
oh,
little
I
bit of
see
it.
that now. Yeah, 2021, 22.
Yeah. So it got us with our stupid perplexed. That's good. The first 10 seconds of the video are going to be us look. That's all
That's
right.
kind of like watching the Dolphins in the first quarter, isn't it?
You know what? That's the perfect analogy because I mean, it's a shame we lost that game, right?
I know, right? Like, got a lot. Go back to the drawing board, and it feels like it though. Like you joke, you laugh, but it feels like it because all of the anxiety that comes with a loss of looking into the future, looking into potentially the playoffs or those matchups like the Ravens game right before the playoffs, you're just worried about all that. And I was doing it in the chat yesterday because I noticed the pattern because we kept talking about against the good teams, against Buffalo, against Philly, against Kansas City. We start slow. They go up 2 scores. That happened in every single first half.
Right.
What I also noticed was, shit, we're also doing this against the Giants, the Panthers, now the Raiders. It's just not as noticeable because they're not as good and they're not putting it in the end zone every single time like those other teams. But we're doing the same shit no matter who we're playing.
Yeah. I mean, I talked about it on the podcast today where it's just like, other than the couple of plays for the Dolphins, the majority of the time, I was bitching and complaining like it felt like we were losing that game. And if we played a team with a competent coaching staff and anything but a rookie quarterback, I think we might have lost that game because it was ugly.
I had to stop for a moment and look at the box score because on the game, on the tape, Tua was looking like ass. And I'm like, man, what's he doing right now? And I go look, and it's like 60% of his 65% of his passes, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, the 1 pick. I'm like, fuck, what am I complaining about? But then I go back and watch the next play. I'm like, no, this is what I'm complaining about. It does not match the box score today. It just doesn't.
No, it was that second half was putrid. And I think that's part of it. And some of it is because, he had the one drive where he had a lot of throws to Tyreek. And then he had the one drive where Tyreek was out, where all of a sudden Jalen, Mike McDaniel remembered we have Jalen Waddle on the team, right? And then
that was a really good drive. That was actually the best drive they had, was that drive without Tyreek. And I don't blame Tyreek for that. That's what it sounds like. I do blame Tua for that. I actually saw someone comment. I don't remember who it was. It doesn't matter anyway. I'm not trying to bury them. But someone made a comment on your recap saying that, like, well, this is Tua. Like, you take away Tyreek, and this is the real Tua. And I was like, well, wait a minute. When Tyreek got hurt, the very next drive, we went on a 9-play drive, put it right in the end zone. Tua hit 4 different receivers.
Right.
It's just when Tyreek's on the field, he seems to only want to throw to Tyreek. But again, I'm not blaming Tyreek for that. I'm blaming Tua for that. Yeah. It's kind of the same situation you have up in Buffalo where Josh Allen only wants to throw to Stephon Diggs. The difference is Tyreek's handling this a lot better than Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs is the only one getting the ball in Buffalo, and his solution is, give me the ball more.
Give me the ball.
And I'm mad because you're not giving me the ball enough, even though I'm the only person you throw the ball to begin with.
Right.
Thankfully, Tyreek's not doing that shit.
Yeah. If only we could, and this is the question that I will never go to Twitter and ask because I'll get called all sorts of names. But is Tua just not capable of a second read, or is it he doesn't have the time, or he's just don't care and he's just taking 2 steps? Because we keep saying it every week. I mean, he's throwing the ball. It's going where he's throwing it, whether the dude is open, whether he's quadruple covered. That's where the ball's going.
I think having someone like Tyreek, and again, this totally sounds like I'm blaming Tyreek, and I'm not. Tyreek can't control this. It's just him being great. But having Tyreek is so tempting when he's out there. Like, he's going to get the ball. Like, we talked about that a few weeks ago about how, like, Tua and Tyreek, they're crazies kind of match. Like, Tua thinks he can make any throw on the field. Tyreek thinks he can catch any ball that's thrown to him.
Right.
That's what I feel like it is, because it's just so tempting and it works so often. Yeah, there's 3 guys on him, but I throw it up, and even though he's not the tallest guy in the world, he ends up with it. And then once he ends up with it, he's still going, and he's still going. Why wouldn't I do that every single time?
Right.
We know why, but like that, that's what I feel like is going through his head, because as soon as he's out of the game, Tua has time. Tua's making reads.
Yeah.
He threw it to Waddle like 3 or 4 times on that drive, but he hit the fullback. He hit Cedric Wilson. He hit Ahmed for the touchdown. Like I said, he hit 4 different receivers on that drive.
Yeah.
Tyreek's
that's a really good point. I hadn't thought about it that way. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's for the most part, it's been working, but this is now a couple weeks in a row now, where the offense is, first off, let's be honest. The offensive line has got, that's me and you out there, right guard and left guard yesterday. You know what I mean?
It's working, though. It's somehow working.
Well, the running lanes are not as, what's that?
At least in comparison to past years. It's definitely not like how it was in the beginning of the season. But compared to last year or 2 years ago, this line is still not the problem. Let's say that. Earlier this year, we were talking about them potentially playing like the best line in football. They're not doing that right now, but it's still a hell of a lot better than it was. Like, I'm not going to – I feel like if we blame the offensive line right now, that would be an excuse.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No, I can understand that. They are, the running game yesterday. I give McDaniel credit. He was sticking with it. It was 2 yards on first down, 2 yards on first down, 2 yards. He was sticking with it. But that's a really good point you made about how as soon as Tyreek came off the field, all of a sudden now Tua knows we got running backs to throw the ball to as well, not just Waddle. But
the touchdown was Ahmed.
And what's crazy is that it doesn't matter. And this is just an observation, by the way. This is not even a complaint because it works so often. But like the opposing defensive coordinators are at the point, it's like, just put 4 guys on Tyreek because Tua's going to throw it there anyway. It doesn't matter if somebody else is open. He's going to throw it there anyway. So you can send all those guys, or you can send guys blitzing and everything, because he's just not looking for much else. Do we even have a tight end?
Not according to Tua, right?
Well, actually, he did catch a pass yesterday and fumbled.
He fumbled it. That's right.
Yeah. So
it wasn't. I had to look him up for a second because it wasn't Smythe. I thought it was like another fullback or somebody, but no, that was
right.
That was tight end. He threw it to him, and now because of that, he's probably never going to throw it to him again, right?
He's never going to throw it. No.
But think about.
But I was watching. Well, this is to your point. I watched the highlights yesterday of Denver's game-winning drive, and I forget the running back's name, but it was the same play over and over again. Wilson took 2 steps back. Here comes the blitz, and he just doinked it over everybody's head to the running back who's right there, and 10 yards, 15 yards,
Sean
17
Payton loves that.
Yeah, and when Tyreek was not in the game, Tua started doing that. But I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's just like, it's a good point you made.
No, I know you're good, but think about how deadly Tua in this offense would be if he played like that while Tyreek was out there too.
Right.
Because it's almost like, did you ever see the movie Celtic Pride?
No.
Okay. Fantastic movie for anyone who hasn't seen it. It was in the movie, in the movies. It was in the 90s. Daniel Stern, Dan Aykroyd kidnapped Damon Wayans, who was playing a star player for the Utah Jazz in the finals. They're extreme Celtics fans. They kidnapped the star player for the Jazz in the finals so that the Celtics win, right? So I just did the thing again. What were we talking about before that so I can remember why I brought Celtic Pride?
We were talking about if we could just get Tua.
I got it, right? Shit. So there's a part towards the end of the movie where they had to end up letting Damon Wayans go, and he's back on the court. And he threatened them that if he loses this game, if he loses the finals because of them, he's going to turn them into the police.
Right.
He's playing like ass out there. And Daniel Stern gets up from his seat and yells at him. He says, "You better start passing the ball. I'm not going down with you." And then all of a sudden, Damon Wayans starts passing the ball. And he's a big ball hog in the movie. He's a little Carter Verhage, right? Yeah. And when he starts passing the ball, all of a sudden that Jazz offense opens and they start dominating the Celtics. The funny part of that, because it was a comedy, very first play when he passes the ball, it hits his teammate right in the fucking face. And it ends up being a turnover. But that is what the Dolphins offense would look like for anyone who has seen that movie. Like, it would just open up so much if he just started to throw to Tyreek a little less, which is weird. And the other thing that sounds weird about it is Tyreek actually might end up with more yards and touchdowns if you threw to him less.
Right. Because,
all of a sudden you got to take a guy off him. And we can't put 3-4 guys on Tyreek anymore. We got to bring a guy over to Waddle here now. Right. Well, now Tyreek's in one-on-one coverage.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Well, we'll flip sides now to the defense, which, because in the first, half dozen games, the defense was making me pretty queasy. You know what I mean? But it looks like they've got things figured out. And is Jalen Ramsey a freaking stud or what?
Well, I mean, he went to Florida State, so of course.
Oh, jeez.
Obviously, he's the best player on the whole team. Come on. Isn't it crazy how the offense and defense have switched places?
Yeah.
Like, we had that elite offense, and the defense is like, you could be doing better. You're doing all right. You definitely could be doing better. And now it's like, yo, this defense is amazing.
Yeah.
Offense, you could be doing better right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, defense saved our ass yesterday. We would have lost to the Raiders at home. And there was this one play. I think it was either the fourth down where we went. It was either the fourth down or third down, but there was one play where I think it was Robbie Chosen was just like wide open deep, and everybody was on Twitter kind of giving Tua grief for missing him, but he didn't have enough time. And I thought on that play to hit him, I think it was Chosen. It was either Chosen or Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the running game's just not been the same. And of course, Achan pulls a Sam Bennett. And was it 3 runs he had yesterday?
About as many shifts as Sam Bennett had,
yeah.
And I didn't realize that until after the game, after I went and worked for a little bit after the game. And then I'm watching your recap. And you didn't even say Sam Bennett. You said something else Panther related. I don't remember what. You said something else that was Panther related. And all of a sudden, boom, I was like, oh my God, Devon Achane and Sam Bennett.
Yeah.
We were just waiting. Like, this team's going to be great when Achane comes back. This team's going to be great when Achane comes back. Achane's back. Yay. Achane's gone.
Right. I mean, just put him on the shelf until the playoffs. Just let him get nice.
It was almost like the Barkov injury, too, with Tyreek.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, and that's the other half of things with the offense is the play calling.
Oh, you want to get to that part?
Well, yeah, we may as well.
The other rant that feels like we lost, even though we actually won.
It's 4th and 1 from the 2, and he's in shotgun, throwing a bubble screen behind the line of scrimmage. Mm-hmm. Come on, bro. When did Joe Philbin become the coach again?
And then the very last play of the half. Mm-hmm.
Now, he's talking about, we did it against the Chargers, but there was like 14 seconds left. You got time for one play with 5 seconds left. And I get what you're trying to do, but just because it works once doesn't mean every time in that circumstance is the right time to do that. You know what I mean? And the field position we had alone, it's just, dude, take a knee. We get the ball to start the half, take the knee. Mm-hmm. And
Kick the field goal. He's not the only coach doing that. As far as that with Tyreek, like doing that and the play call, whatever. But there are so many coaches, college and pro, that are like, I guess the chip shot field goal isn't good enough for them. They're like, I don't want that. It's only a 30-yard field goal. I only kick if it's a 40 or a 45. It's like, take the 3 fucking points. Like every coach is doing that. But the thing is, like, I've noticed, I don't know if he's not thinking about it or if it was just bad luck. But obviously, he takes risks into account. He's not a dumb guy by any means, Mike McDaniel. But I feel like he's only looking at the risk of what can happen as far as a football play. Like, yeah, okay, I'll just throw it up at the end of the half. What's gonna happen when I throw a pick at the end? Who cares? Like, I feel like that's all he's thinking about. But dude, on both of your risk it biscuits here, you got Tyreek hurt and you got Tua hurt.
Yeah.
And I don't think you thought about that before. You were just thinking, maybe we won't pick up the first down. Maybe we'll throw a pick at the end of the half. No, maybe Tyreek will break his wrist and Tua will break his back.
Yeah.
And both of those almost happened.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, Tua, look, I mean, I'm not saying he's hurt, but he did play like ass the rest of the game after that hit.
It makes you feel like he got hit in the head, even though he didn't get hit in the head at all.
Right.
Maybe it's kind of like a receiver going over the middle and they get blown up real good. And it's like, well, I'm not going over the middle at least the rest of this game. Right. You know, he could have had something like that only lasts for that game, but he could have had some extra, I don't know if nerves are the right word, but y'all know what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, because he was missing throws that, I mean, he bounced in a couple of third down throws that normally he's right on the money. Yeah, the other third down throw, he was trying to get it to Ingold, and then he just like chucked it over his head, you know. And so you couple that with the play calling, we get the win, man. I mean, that's about as much as you can say about yesterday. And the bigger issue now is we play Friday, right? And
I think that's mostly why HN didn't come back in.
Yeah.
We're so low on running backs to begin with, and we're playing on Friday. Like, we needed HN to stay healthy or to stay out just in case he might be the only healthy person on Friday. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I got that. I was okay with that. I was shocked that Tyreek came back in, though.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of needed, you know, look, the Raiders aren't a bad team. So there's that element to it. I just hate the self-inflicted wounds, man. You know what I mean? And, you know,
it feels like once or twice a game that happens.
Yeah.
It's only like once or twice, but that's the thing with like football being a game of inches. You know, the margin for error is so small. It only takes one or two times of, I call it Mike McDaniel outsmarting himself, and he'll do it once or twice a game. And once or twice is all a professional team, especially the elite professional teams. You know, I guess we can't say Buffalo anymore, but the Philadelphia, Kansas City, Buffalo did it to us. When Buffalo had all their healthy players, when they had Trey White and everybody else, they were elite. So that point being, they only need you to outsmart yourself once or twice, and they're up 14 points. And so far, we're 0 for 3 when those guys go up 14 points on us.
Yeah, that's true. Look, man. And then the other part to it is you know, at least we've got everybody there on defense. We're playing a lot better there. Fangio has them going. They have them going, and we didn't have to rely too much on the blitz a whole lot yesterday. We, you know, sparingly. He's kind of found that balance there. But we've got some tough games coming up. I mean, it won't be that long before the end of the season comes, and you're talking about, the Cowboys, Ravens, Bills, right? And the Jets twice. I'm looking forward to the game, but if we thought this game was ugly, this
is gonna be a lot of ugly football the rest of the way.
Yeah.
Let me ask a half serious question. It's a joke today, but if he keeps doing what he's doing, it could be a serious question in a few weeks.
I'm not ready to put in Mike White yet.
I'm not that Dolph fan, and you know it.
That's a joke. That's a joke for the 8 people still listening. That's a joke. I would want Skyler anyway.
How many games is the minimum threshold? What's acceptable or suitable for a player to win Defensive Player of the Year?
That's a good question.
He got 3 picks in 3 games. I thought it was 2. I forgot he played the Kansas City game. He got 3 picks in 3 games. I'm just saying, he finishes the season with 10 picks and he only played like 8 games. And to talk about who we're playing down the stretch here.
Well, the question is, who's his competition? That's
Myles Garrett.
That's the question. Yeah,
it's Myles Garrett running away with it right now. But as the Browns keep fading, if the Dolphins were to surge, and like I said, Jalen would need like 10 picks in half a season, but he's already got 3.
Yeah, that's true.
And if you want
and I was
to keep testing him on 4th down, why not?
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, that was part of how we won yesterday. It's 4th and 3. And the Raiders call us, why don't we test Jalen Ramsey in the back of the end zone? What? That was
and
just...
I kind of got it. Like, okay, 4th and 3, you think the defense is thinking you're looking short, middle of the field. Either maybe it's a run, that's kind of ballsy, but a short pass, maybe a slant, maybe it's something like that. So I get going deep. I get that part. Not throwing at Jalen Ramsey if I'm going deep, but I get throwing deep.
Right. Yeah. We got help all the way around. And then, of course, we were talking about this on the stream. I'd like to go back to, let's say, a 1985 game. And I want to watch the entire game and nitpick it and figure out what the result would have been with replay. Because without replay the other day, it's 7-0 Dolphins on the first drive because it's a defensive touchdown. And we keep the ball because the fumble of Tua was called down by contact. And I still don't understand. Now, it was a fumble. But what I don't understand is, okay, his knee hits, the ball comes out, the ball is loose. The whistles are blowing, the refs are blowing the whistle and calling the play dead. They go back to review and they say, okay, well, the Raiders collected the ball. How can you count what happened after the referees were blowing the play dead? Even if the review, the replay showed it was a fumble, they were blowing the whistle and guys were pulling up. So I get that it was a fumble. I'm not saying it wasn't. What I don't understand is, how can you still count that? I don't understand how they can do that.
It gets tricky because, like you said, guys are pulling up and you can't determine who definitively would have recovered the ball if the whistle's been blown. And I've heard that said during a football game before.
Right.
But the other thing I'm trying to remember, and I am pulling from stoner memory, so forgive me, people, but I want to say that sound is not a part of replay. I want to say that. I want to say I've heard that before. Like, audio is not included in replay. I could be wrong about that. I'm pulling that out of my ass from memories and stuff.
Right.
But I want to say that. I want to say they only have access to the visual. So even if you can see guys pulling up, you can't technically hear exactly when the whistle's blown.
Right.
Someone correct me on that, but I want to say audio is not included for replay.
Interesting. Well,
which makes it even harder to make the call.
Yeah. But I want to go back and watch a whole 1985 game and see, and because you can't implement the new rules, you can't do that because every play would be roughing the passer or pass interference, literally. But without replay, I'd like to see what would happen to some of those games that went either way. You know what I mean?
I know I'm old because I'll still look at games sometimes and a face mask happens and I'll go, Was that a 5 or a 15? Oh, I guess it doesn't fucking matter anymore, does it?
Yeah, it
Because
does.
I'm an old man, and I can remember when sometimes it was only a 5-yard face mask, and then when you really did a face mask, it was 15.
Yeah.
I miss that.
Yeah. I mean, the refs weren't bad yesterday. It just was kind of odd. And then the Tua fumble, I mean, that was so close, man. It was just like his knee was like this far off the ground when the ball comes out. And
you
I mean,
got
I
the
get
goal
it.
in Anaheim. You didn't get the Tua fumble.
Right. Yeah, no, I get it. Oh, the goal, and don't even get me started. That was a goal, bro. I mean, we said it on the stream when we got that call. It's like, okay.
No Duck fans can be mad at you.
No,
no Duck fans can be mad at you.
No. So, well, look, we got to win it. Like you said, it doesn't feel like it. You know what I mean? And maybe it's because we're going into Jets week and we got the game Friday, and you're just kind of like, I don't want to lose to the Jets, man. But boy, if we play like we did on Friday, we are going to lose. Or, we're going to lose to the Jets. If we go out there,
quarterback for the Jets on Friday.
You don't think they're going to throw Wilson back out there?
I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be Wilson. I don't know if it's going to be that other dude. I don't know if it's going to be Tommy DeVito. I don't know if it's going to be Joe Flacco. Kidding about those last year. Joe Flacco's a Cleveland Brown now. Do you know that?
I mean, last I heard, Kyle said they were going to work him out, so they signed him.
At least like the practice squad portion of it.
I see. Okay. Jeez. Well, they got it. I mean, karma's a bitch, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Go ahead. Maybe the Dolphin game on Friday will be the return of Colin Kaepernick. How about that?
Oh, Jesus. Did you hear what Rodgers said to them?
No.
Kyle told me last night. He said Rodgers said he could be ready to go in a few weeks, but he doesn't want to play for a team that's not contending for a playoff spot.
Ooh.
That's not a quote. That's what Kyle came upstairs and told me last night. That was the gist of what he told them was that
people are saying that about Justin Jefferson right now too. That like he could come back before the end of the season here, but like if the Vikings are out of it by the time he's healthy, he's not going to play those last 4 whatever games if they're out of it. They've been talking about that with him.
Yeah. Well, I don't blame him, especially with Rodgers. I wouldn't want to come back with that offensive line. I don't know what they were thinking in the first place. So I mean, I expect our defense.
Ball, right?
What's that?
He didn't even throw one pass as a Jet yet, right?
I think he did. It was incomplete.
He did throw one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I think he got hurt on 3rd down.
Okay. That's how the revisionist history is, right? You think like it happened on like the very first drop back.
Right.
It felt they obviously made all the memes for it, but it felt very Apollo Crews like in Rocky IV. Like he had all that fanfare in the beginning. He had the flag, even had the flag like Apollo Crews, and then dead.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. What do you think about how do you feel about the game day after Thanksgiving? I mean, just playing on a Friday at 3:00. I mean,
I like it.
You like it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is that because that gives you Sunday off?
What are they doing? I think they realize people are home,
right?
And not to paint anyone with a broad brush, but the general thinking is that the ladies are shopping Black Friday. They're actually out of the house. Holy shit. Right. The boys got the house to themselves right now. I mean, maybe they're going to Home Depot for a second. See, I'm painting everyone with a broad brush right now. Maybe they go to Home Depot for a second and get a new grill. But other than that, they got the house to themselves. The wife's out shopping. Let's watch some football. Like, I totally get that from the NFL's point of view.
Right, but I wonder how much the advertising costs from the first half versus the second half. Because most of us be asleep by the second half unless you're a Dolphins or Jets fan. I mean, because you're going to get that big turkey sandwich at halftime, and by the middle of the third quarter, man, you're going to be dead, especially with those two offenses on the field. It's going to be 9-6.
I'd say your advertising costs are probably equal to whatever the night game is on Thanksgiving.
Right. Yeah.
Your night game even though the night game every year is usually the good game, but yeah, like all that tryptophans in, doesn't matter how good the game is. But we're actually going to have a Thanksgiving. Might be the first one in my lifetime. We're actually having a Thanksgiving where both the Lions and the Cowboys actually deserve to be playing on Thanksgiving.
That's a good point.
I've had a couple years there where the Lions deserved it. Like I saw Barry Sanders. I'm old enough to have seen him, but I don't think I've ever had it where they both had it.
Yeah.
Like either the Lions usually are the ones that didn't deserve it, but even like those couple years that the Lions were good, Cowboys weren't good. But
yeah, it's just a shame the Packers aren't
35 years old. 35 years old, and those two finally deserve the thing they get every single year.
Yeah. Yeah. They should have just had them play each other. I mean, we're going to stream the first game.
I don't know why they haven't done that. I mean, I guess because they both have the home game for Thanksgiving. Nobody wants to give up that home game.
What's the night game? What's the third game?
Dude, I don't even know.
Is that's not San Francisco, Seattle, is it? Let's see here.
Doesn't sound like it. Because usually that night game is like Sunday Night Football worthy.
Right. Let's see. 49ers Seahawks. Look at that. The old man has a memory. Not bad.
Look at the Seahawks getting respect. Any Seattle fan that potentially sees this is looking at me like, you son of a bitch. We are a marquee matchup. Sorry.
Yeah, right.
I didn't think the league thought of you like that. Sorry.
Well, I guess, and it really kind of screws them a little bit though, because that's 8:20 at night. So over there, that's what, 4:20, 5:20, right? So
they're 3 hours behind East Coast.
So 5:20. So like right at freaking dinner time. Like right
that's a
at
late
dinner
time for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, not where I was not when I grew up.
Yeah.
We were 4:30 because we would wait for when would we do it? It's a good question. We might have waited for
ours would be kind of the afternoon game. Yeah, ours would be kind of the afternoon game because it's almost a different version of brunch. Like brunch is in between breakfast and lunch. If you wanted to make a word for between lunch and dinner, that's kind of when we had the Thanksgiving time.
Yeah. It just depends on if the Dolphins were playing or not. I still remember being at my uncle's house for the Leon Lett game. Were you alive then?
Let it lay. I did not see that game. Was I alive for it? I was 88.
No, that was 90. That was 93.
Okay, yeah. So I was alive, but didn't see it.
Pretty sure
but
it was
I've
93.
definitely seen it replayed since. I've heard Michael Irvin make jokes about it. But yeah, it wasn't like watching the game as a 5-year-old now.
Yeah, my uncle made a pork, and I remember exactly where I was, and because we had I guess he had Nintendo. We would play Madden before the games would start, and I remember that because the game was over now. You know what I mean? And I remember getting from the chair onto the floor, and I was reaching to get the Nintendo out or the PlayStation, whatever it was that he had, because we were going to play another game of Madden before I had to go. And so I was reaching to get everything set up, and Leon Lett did things, and
you did not let it lay.
He did not lay. Yeah, exactly. Leon Lett did not let it lay. That's a lot of that. Leon Lett didn't let it lay. Yeah.
That's what Michael Irvin always says. Let it lay, Leon.
Let it lay. I'm surprised you're an Irvin fan. He didn't go to Florida State,
I told you I grew up a Miami fan until I went to Florida State. I was a Miami fan because of The Rock. Oh, big wrestling fan growing up, and The Rock, went to Miami. I was like, all right, I'll root for Miami. That's how little kids choose their teams, right? It's like every kid in the 90s was an Angels fan, even though they didn't live in California and the Angels weren't good, but we all liked the Angels.
But for me, it was 10 years earlier. So it was a Dodger. I was a Dodger fan before the Marlins came around. Tommy
Right.
Lasorda, Fernando Valenzuela, and those guys. Kirk Gibson on one leg. That was
Mhm.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, I
that
just
was
got
my team.
lucky that Dan Marino was the one in Ace Ventura. Like if that had been Brett Favre, I'd have been like, "Hey, Packers." Which I actually really do like Favre's cameo, and there's something about Mary
Yeah,
when he shows up as like the last dude trying to get Cameron Diaz.
yeah.
um.
Oh well.
Oh man, what the hell's Brett Favre doing here? In town to play the Dolphins, you dumbass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It was
it's the
still a Dolphins
Dolphins.
reference.
It's always the Dolphins. All right. So we get the win. That's good enough. Well, so what are we gonna do? I guess Saturday at noon we'll do our review for the game on Friday.
Yeah, something like that. If we haven't
Something like that.
overdosed on tryptophan by then.
Jeez, right? I know that's going to be a rough one to stay awake for because we got all the games Thursday, we got all the food Thursday, and then the Panthers play Friday night too.
Mhm.
They play 8 o'clock. So
Oh,
good luck to all of us staying awake for that whole
we're
that
gonna
whole
try to get to
scenario.
500 on here. I saw during the recap we had gotten a few more. It's
I think
only like,
4:15.
yeah, only like 80 or 85 people away from it.
Yeah,
From Kyle not
we're
having to
getting
stream for
close.
free anymore.
We're getting close. We're getting close. I got to put out more content. It's just I've been putting the finishing touches on the book and everything. So I've been distracted with that. But I finished that up yesterday. So I just got to
Oh,
get
good
that
job.
to. I got to get it to the formatter. But we're weeks away now. I think instead of months from actually having a product in the hand. So I'm happy about that. So. All right, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate everybody watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe if you've managed to suffer through all 37 minutes. We really appreciate that. And Dolphins win. I mean, there's not.
They
It
did
don't
win.
feel like it, but we're 7-3, and in the end, that's all that matters. So we appreciate it, and we'll see you guys again next week.